Hello, everybody. Happy Wednesday. It's Jessica Perez-Beebe coming to you live here inside of the High Performer Lifestyle private Facebook group. Some of you are watching the replay on YouTube. Thank you for being here with me. Today's topic is something that's been coming up a lot in my life. If you've been following me, you've been hearing me probably share a little bit of an injury that I've been going through and physical pain. But in this live, we're going to talk about pain and adversity, not just physical pain, but as we experience it in our life, in relationships, in, adversity we're going through in our career, in the state of affairs, everything that is going on in general in the world, right? I don't think any of us have ever gotten to where we are right now without having to experience pain, adversity, triumph, right? I mean, let me know that I'm not alone. So what I want to do is I want to start by reading you just this small paragraph from a recent Forbes article I read titled "The Positive of Painful Experiences." And he says, emotional and mental pain has the capacity to wear you down because, and this is what we're going to talk about, and I'm going to give you 4 ways to really shift your mindset, because your mind controls everything that you do, right? There's that Descartes quote, I think, therefore I am. I think, therefore I am. That means all of your power is right here. So all of your power in terms of how to experience pain, what your perspective is on it, whether it's physical, whether it's mental, whether it's emotional, okay? Your thoughts have the capacity to put you in a prison and incapacitate you. Many of you know people who you know in your personal life who are in their own prison, right? They're incapacitated by their own thoughts. And although this may sound extreme, it's necessary for any person's growth. In this article, what he's saying is that he thinks it's necessary for growth that you actually have these moments of hitting rock bottom, that you actually have these moments in your life of, severe challenge and triumph, whatever that is to you, that in order to become as strong as you can possibly be, in order to find out what you are really made of, pain, rock bottom, adversity, all of that is necessary. How do you feel about that? How do you feel hearing that? Pain, in my experience, teaches you. It teaches you a lot and even makes you understand what happiness is, right? We can't experience one thing without having already experienced the lack of it, right? So I want to talk about a mindset shift that has really supported me in my life, not just in my business and in my personal, relationships, but with my sport. I'm now a professional bodybuilder. I just had my pro debut this weekend. Thank you for those of you who sent me such supportive messages. But this mindset shift of expecting pain and adversity as a part of the process, especially the bigger I set my goal, the bigger I set my vision. And now I know this is going to sound like counterintuitive, but I actually know when I set my big vision and when I set my big goal, part of that vision, I know as I'm setting it, and I don't go through all the details of creating pain, but I know that with that goal, in the pursuit of it, I'm going to experience pain and adversity. And when you can think like this, when you can think in a way that has you already know you're going to have roadblocks, and you already know it's not going to go the way you expected, and you already know that things are going to happen that you hadn't planned for. When you have that mindset, here is how it serves you. And I want you to write these down if you can. It serves you because, number one, you don't freak out when things go wrong. You don't freak out when things go wrong or not as planned. right? Because you are expecting that that is going to happen, right? So 4 weeks out from my competition this weekend, I was having, up until that time, the best prep ever. We call it prep when we're in that like 14, 16 week, specific dieting and specific training. And the truth is, I had spent the whole past year, training hard. I put on 4 to 5 pounds of lean muscle. Everything was going great. And then I was back home visiting a family member, and I got on an inversion table, and my hip came out of place. Now, I had an old SI hip injury from years and years and years ago that has flared up off and on. You guys probably have had stuff in the past as well. Well, as soon as I got on that inversion table, I felt it. I mean, I had to get help coming down, and it was just that feeling of, okay, there it is. Now, this could have been an oh shit moment. Oh shit, right? Where it's just like, ah, and it kind of was. But because of the way I operate here, I quickly pulled it together. I recognized it as, okay, it's going to be one of those trials over the next 4 weeks. I have no idea what's going to come. I wasn't even thinking ahead. I was staying in the moment. And this is a tool that I teach my clients, right? Don't start getting ahead of yourself. But I realized in that moment, okay, here is one of those things that I did not expect, and especially this close to the competition, and I can do this, right? So you don't freak out when things don't go wrong or not as planned. Number 2, you accept it. You accept that pain, trials, challenges are a part of the process. Here's why this part is important. Because of that, when something happens, you don't worry that you're off track, right? You don't worry that you're off track. You actually know you're still on track. You know that you're on track because you know that unplanned things are a part of the process, part of the journey to getting where you want to go. It's like I tell my husband, anybody here have a husband or a friend or a spouse, or maybe even yourself, who just gets so like triggered in traffic? Well, my husband, who is so calm and loving and like nothing bothers him, traffic does. And I always tell him, listen, we are going to be on the road for this weekend 9 hours at a time, right? Expect that we're going to hit traffic. Expect that some people are going to be in the fast lane going way too slow. Expect that there's going to be a detour. The mindset shift, right? When you can think like this about pain and adversity, when you can expect it as part of the process, number 1, you don't freak out when things go wrong. And I gave you the example of my oh shit moment, right? 4 weeks out from my competition. And then you accept it. You accept it. And what's so important about number 2 is that because you know that adversity and you know that unplanned things are a part of the process, a part of the journey, then you're able to say, okay, this is good. Like, it's not what I expected. However, I know that this is a part of the process. Like, I'm open to things not going the way that I planned. I'm not going to let it derail me, right? And I was giving the example of how I tell my husband, listen, expect that all these things are going to come up when we're out in traffic so that you don't let it control you. Because here's what happens. If you can only be okay, if you can only stick to your workout plan, if you can only stick to what needs to be done in your business, when things are going as planned, and when things are easy, and when things are going your way, you're never going to get much traction. You're never going to get far because you're allowing outside circumstances that don't fit into your mold of how you think it should be. You're letting those things control you. They take your power, right? They take your power. And so it's not that, you'll hear people talk about manifesting and stuff, say, expect the best, expect positive. Yes, of course. However, change your perception about what it means to have adversity, pain, and things like that. Right? If that to you is negative, then every time you experience something like that, you're going to judge it that way, right? So it's all about a shift in perspective. Okay, so number 3, because you don't freak out, right? Because you don't freak out and you accept what comes up, you also don't quit. And not quitting is the biggest, most important part of this. Sorry about that. So because you don't freak out, you accept what comes up, you also don't quit. And so during this whole process, when I had that physical pain and all of the pain that was coming with that mentally and emotionally, as I'm getting closer and closer to the competition, right? In my mind, there was never a moment of wanting to quit, right? Because it was okay. I expected that to be a part of the process. I'm sorry. And number 4, you look for the silver lining. Whatever you look for, you will find. So this mindset of expecting pain and adversity is a part of the beautiful, complex process of life and of goal setting. It sets you up to automatically find the gift in every bad experience, right? And so in this example, for me, the gift is still unfolding. And I know it's going to reveal itself even further down the line. But already it's led me to a deeper investigation into my injury, to researching specialists, finally giving it the attention that it deserves, right? And mentally, it reminded me of how committed I am. And that the habits and the tools that I have developed over the years, because I mean, come on, we're not born committed and disciplined, right? But it reminded me that those habits that I have practiced and that I teach my clients, they work. They work. They have become second nature to me, automatic. You know, a few weeks ago, my coach called me and said, man, Jessica, you have got that upper 1% mindset. He said, because I work with thousands of athletes over the years and right now hundreds, and a weaker person would have quit by now. And that blew my mind, because never for a second did I think about quitting. Never for a second, because I don't freak out when things go wrong. I don't freak out by pain, right? Like you're in the moment and you're accepting that this is a part of the process and that most of it will make sense looking backwards. Don't use adversity, pain, things not going your way, quarantine, whatever. Don't use those as excuses to pull back on you. I was able to go and compete, place second in my very first pro competition, and am more fired up and motivated than ever, and have even bigger goals now, right? So that's the benefit of shifting your mindset to this mindset of expecting pain and adversity along the way, and not letting that be a reason to quit or pull back. Actually using that as a reason to remind you, okay, I'm on track. This is part of the process. Every successful person and everything that they do has to go through these. And thinking back to what I read you earlier in that article about the positive of painful experiences, where they say actually hitting rock bottom is what has you become as strong as you can possibly be. So look for those moments, expect them, and embrace them. If this message helped you at all today, here's what I want you to do. Post a comment now and let me know how it helped you. How it helped you. What is it in your life possibly that you have been looking at through negative glasses, a negative lens, as it relates to maybe physical or mental or emotional pain that you're going through, and how you can shift your perspective on that, so that you can learn to not freak out, accept it, not quit, and look for the silver lining in your pain and in your adversity. Thanks for being with me, guys. I'll see you soon. Bye.